I am a massive Hunger Games fan. It is one of my favorite movie franchises and also one of my favorite book series. I've been covering this series on my channel for years now, doing deep dives into most characters from the original series, not to mention breakdowns of all different elements of the franchise. So it's safe to say, I really love the Hunger Games. In this video, I'm going to give an honest review of the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes movie from a die-hard Hunger Games fan. I decided to wait a few days before making this because there are going to be spoilers in this video. So spoiler alert, you have now been warned. If you like this video, hit that like button. It will greatly help the channel with the algorithm. And if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. And you can also follow me on my other social medias, all of which are linked down below, and all of which house similar content that I make here on this channel. Before we start, I want to thank today's sponsor, Displayed. Displayed is about collecting your passions and getting inspired. It's a one-of-a-kind metal poster, it's passion printed on metal. This allows it to be incredibly sturdy, eliminating the flimsiness of a paper poster, which can be so frustrating. It's also easy and safe to hang with its unique magnet mounting system, which also makes it stay up much better. And one of the best things about it for me is that they don't reflect. I can have heavy lights behind the camera and it won't ruin my shot. And for the average person, this allows your display poster to look better in any room it's hung in. The cool thing about the magnet system is you can easily switch different posters out for the other, meaning you can quickly change the decor without ruining your wall. This is great for me depending on what video topic I'm doing. I can just switch out the poster for whatever fandom I'm talking about. Displayed has so much to choose from as they have too many fandoms to count. They have Harry Potter, Marvel, DC, Avatar The Last Airbender, Star Wars, and so much more. They also work with 40,000 notable artists, have 1.3 million designs available for you, and they deliver to 56 different countries. And right now, Displayed is having a massive sale for Black Friday. If you use my link and use my discount code MovieFlame, you will get 35% off if you buy 1 to 2 display posters, 39% off if you buy 3 to 4 posters, and 44% off if you buy 5 or more display posters. It's a great offer, so don't miss out. You'll get a great product, and with every purchase, it helps fund the MovieFlame channel. Now that I've said that, let's get to the review. Going to see Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes was definitely something I went into pretty excited, but I tried not to get my hopes up too much. Obviously, there has been a huge divide between fans and critics on what they thought of this movie, and personally, I'm more on the side of the fans. Francis Lawrence came back to direct, and as always, he did an incredible job. I thought he was a bright spot when they brought him in to direct Catching Fire, and clearly so did the studio because he hasn't left since. There were some truly magnificent shots in this film that he has become known for, and the cinematography blew me away at times. I thought that overall, they adapted the book incredibly well, which is something that this movie series has always done a great job of doing. That being said though, they did cut a few things out that left me disappointed, like the takeover of the drones in the arena, or Snow killing a massive amount of Mockingjays during target practice, which made him feel giddy inside, and other small things like the dragging of the dead tributes behind the carriage. Overall though, they fit so much in, especially considering that this is the longest book in the series by over 100 pages. I've seen people say that this could have been split into 2 parts, but honestly, I feel as though they got everything in there that needed to be in there with the exception of a few things. So I think keeping it one movie was actually the right move. I've also seen people say that the 3rd act was super rushed, which I actually agree with. However, I feel as though this isn't the movie's fault, but rather the book's fault. I've always said that that 3rd act where Snow goes to be a peacekeeper in District 12 was super rushed by Collins, and I think the movie did the best they could with what they had. I think they absolutely nailed the climax, which I actually just made a video on last week. I'll link it down below if you're interested so you can watch it after the review. But anyway, the whole sequence with Snow going after Lucy Gray was absolutely thrilling and I think the best part of the movie for me. I was also really impressed with how they handled the poisoning scenes with the bloody noses. That was actually something that was not in the book, and they set it up so well with the tributes in the arena, meaning they didn't have to come out and say what happened. It was just a visual for the audience. That's all that we needed. And you have to give credit to the writers and directors for that. That was so well done. The actual Hunger Games were also very well done. It followed the book pretty closely, which made me happy, and when the snakes were dropped in the arena, it was exactly how I imagined it. I think that the cast in this movie was spectacular. Tom Blythe was the perfect teenage Snow. He knocked it out of the park. You could tell that Viola Davis was having a blast with this role, and she sent chills down my spine every time she was on screen. You really hang on to her every word. Peter Dinklage was amazing as always. He's an actor who could easily get typecast, but that was not the case here. He was chosen for this role because he was the best man for the job, and he was magnificent as Highbottom, really showcasing the character's pain, anger, and vengeance all at the same time. Josh Andres Rivera was great as Sejanus Plinth. That scene where he calls everybody monsters was so powerful.
You're monsters! All of you!
And Hunter Schafer as Tigress was also great. I just wish they utilized her character a bit more. I think she could have had a lot more to do than the film showed. And I've saved Rachel Zegler's performance for last. She obviously is in the midst of getting a lot of hate for her comments about the live-action Snow White movie, and I've seen people bash her performance in this film, which leads me to believe that they just hated her performance out of spite. I thought she was fantastic as Lucy Gray, both with her acting and her singing. The only complaint I have was that I think her accent was a bit inconsistent at times.
You can either cross that line into evil or not. And it's our life's work to stay on the right side of that line.
But overall, I thought she was great in the role. The music in the movie was hit or miss for me. I wish it felt more like a character singing a song rather than, wait, is this a musical? This might have been caused by the music being a little too grand at times, especially when Lucy Gray sang at the Reaping or when she sang in the arena. I think they executed how it should have been done perfectly when Snow walked up behind Lucy Gray when she was singing the Hanging Tree song. It just felt like a character singing a song rather than the song being the thing that carried the scene. The Covey performance was the one exception of this, I think, because I really enjoyed seeing them perform for the crowd. Again though, I think it worked because it wasn't the singing that carried the scene, it just set the vibe for the Hob. The character that actually made me laugh the most, which I didn't expect, was Lucky Flickerman, played by Jason Schwartzman. They utilized this character far more than the book did, which is similar to how the original films utilized Caesar Flickerman. I thought that Lucky was super well handled, and he brought most of the comic relief in the movie, almost all of which made me and the audience I was sitting with laugh. I also love that he was the one who said the now famous Hunger Games line.
I don't love your odds, but may they be ever in your favor.
The sets for this movie were interesting, as they had a retro look, and honestly, I'm not a huge fan of this. You have to remember that this takes place centuries in the future, and Panem is what America used to be. I get that they were trying to make it look older than the original series, but I just don't like the way they went about it. Their technology should be well past the 1970s and 80s. The CGI in this movie was pretty good for the most part, but I think there were areas it could have been improved. I said I loved the scene where the snakes were being dropped in the arena, but I think it could have been even better if the CGI for the snakes was a bit more realistic. There were also some interesting green screen shots that sort of took me out of the movie because they looked so fake. Other than that though, they did a good job with the CGI, especially with the fight scenes in the arena. The PG-13 rating is something I want to talk about. I really wish we could have seen more of the brutality that was written in the book. I mentioned them cutting the dragging of the dead tributes behind the chariot, which I think would have been so chilling to see on screen. I also wish some of the deaths were more gruesome, because after all, this is people fighting to the death. There was barely any blood when they would be stabbed, and some of the falls weren't very believable because they pulled back to make it less frightening. And even in the opening scene during the Dark Days, they cut away from the man eating the other guy's leg. I understand why they did it. They wanted more people to be able to see the film, but I think the movie really would have benefited from an R rating. Seeing more of the Capitol in this film was a treat, because we had seen small glimpses of it throughout the original series, but to learn more about the culture, how the schooling works, and more about the housing and rent in the city, it was really cool. I love that they started the movie off in the Capitol during the Dark Days, and I love how much detail they put into the skyline during modern day in the film, because you can see that they're still rebuilding from all of the destruction that the Dark Days caused, even a decade after it ended. The classroom scenes were one of my favorite parts of seeing the Capitol, especially when Gaul entered the room and had her back and forth with Snow. I never thought that there would be a more evil character than the Snow from the original series, or even than President Coin, but Gaul said, "Hold my beer," and not only became the most evil villain in the franchise, but also groomed who most would say is the second most evil character in the series. Overall, the movie highlighting the downfall, or I guess some would say the rise, of Coriolanus Snow was executed very well on screen. I only had a few minor complaints, and I'd say that overall, it's up there when comparing it to the original 4 movies. Let me know what you guys thought of the film, and also what you thought of my own opinions on the movie. I'm eager to read your thoughts, so comment them below. That's all I have for you guys today though, so I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. You can follow me on Instagram to see more of my personal life, like my cute dog Loki, and some behind the scenes Movie Flame stuff. I also do similar content on TikTok and Twitter that I do here on this channel, so if you like what I do here, check them out. All the handles are right below me, and links are in the description. Over here are my wonderful patrons. If you want to be featured on the next video, plus get a few other perks, become a patron today. As always, if you liked the video, hit that like button and subscribe, and look out for more great Movie Flame videos on the way.